landscape designer. Welcome to Landscape Elevation. I'm Charlene Gray, where I talk about all things landscape design geared toward those of you who are landscape design entrepreneurs, whether you're just getting started in your side hustle or you've been in business for years. I hope the things I talk about resonate and help you on your journey as a landscape designer. So today I'll show you how I use the VWX landmark tools to trace over my imported Hardscape planting sketches to create a fully digital 3D representation of my sketchy landscape. Now, something I haven't mentioned yet in this series of videos, but I will be doing demonstrations on shortly, is that while I've been mainly using the 2D visualizations of these drafting tools, a major bonus about working in VWX Landmark is that the landscape features also visualize 3D. And in today's demo video, I'll show you how this works. So today's demo is the fourth and last video in this series. And here's a quick recap on what I've covered in this 4-video series. So the first video I showed you how I create a base map in VWX using digital drawing files from a surveyor and an architect. The second video showed you how I import multiple concept sketches into VWX to create a digital PDF presentation package that I use for presenting to clients in order to get feedback from them so that I can go ahead and keep working on the overall design and layout, make sure I'm going in the right direction. Third, and the most previous video, I used the VWX drawing tools to trace the layout of my hand-drawn concept. So the one that the clients chose, I traced over that in VWX. And here is the printed sheet that I came out with. You see that? And so I printed this out and I put a clean piece of trace over it, and then I came out with this sketchy mess. Let's see. So that looks like this. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And then I just traced, I scanned just this trace paper. Okay, so then I had a digital file of that sketchy mess. All right, so here, I'll go into the video. Today's video takes that scanned JPEG of the sketch and traces over it in VWX using the 3D drafting tools and symbols. All right, so here we are with the VWX entrance layout base that I finished creating in the last video of this series. That was video 3. And so I'm going to today take this and show you how I create hardscapes for the walkway and the driveway. And then I'll show you how I import my sketch planting design and use the VWX tools to place 3D plants. So the first thing I want to do is make these sight lines that I created invisible. So I'm going to create a class for them so that I can turn them on later, if I want to. So classes, new, I'll call it sight lines. And now if I just select all of these lines, I can head up to the object info palette and place them in the sightlines class, and then over in my navigation palette I can turn that class off. And while I'm right here, I'll turn off my title block, and so I guess just as a reminder, let me open up this concept C. So this was the concept it's off, somehow it got off alignment, so I'm going to pull that back over. There. Okay, and one thing I am noticing now that I'm looking at this is I forgot to draw a layout line for this little secondary walkway that I have going in between this door for the main entry and this door of the garage. So just quickly, I'm going to show that here just to give an idea of where I had that on the original concept. And the idea for that little walkway was just to create stepping stones. So maybe I'll just do that first. Okay, so I'll turn off concept C, and in this region here and here, I'll create stepping stones. I don't really need these lines, so I'm going to just delete them. Okay, so I'm going to use the freehand tool, and I like to set my freehand tool to do a low smoothing. Otherwise, I hardly get any shape out of it's like they all look like circles. So low smoothing, and I'm just going to draw here some roundish, irregular stepping stones. Okay, and so now if someone wants to walk from this door to this door, they don't have to walk the long way. They can hop over some stones, and that's going to be quite a, cute little experience. All right, so I don't want those to be white, so I'm going to change their fill. It is already solid. I'm just going to change the color to a gray, too dark. And I'll change the pen line to a gray as well. So now I've got one, and I can grab my dropper tool, take those characteristics, and put them into the other two stepping stones. Okay, so got my stepping stones. Now to move on to the real hardscape fills here. So this is the walkway, all of these segmented lines. So if you're familiar with VectorWorks at all, you'll know that if you want any lined area to be filled with a certain texture or hatch or anything like that, any color, you need all of those lines to touch each other and basically create a closed loop. So the first thing I'll do is close this loop. So I'm going to connect all of these segmented line points. And then I can go around and highlight all of them. And the first thing I'll do is compose them together. So modify compose. And so now they're one nice closed loop. If I click on any one of those lines, the entire object of the closed loop highlights. So you can see over here in the object info palette that that's called a polyline. I want that to be eventually a 3D hardscape. So I need to convert that into a polygon, because a polygon gives it a z coordinate, which will give it its height. It's 2D to 3D. So now that's that. So I could do with this the same thing I did with these stepping stones. I could just apply a color and go from there. But I want it to show like it has a patterned paving on it, and I want it to show in 3D. So I'm going to head over to the toolset palette, click on this landscape, and if you click the hardscape tool, you'll see these options you have at the top. So one thing I could have done from the beginning was draw this entire hardscape outline with these tools, and I did not do that. I drew them with regular tools. So that's why I had to put them all together. And now I use this, if I hover over this little lightning thing, it should tell me that that's the convert, pickup mode and convert mode. So if I'm in convert mode, I can hover over the thing that I want to convert into a hardscape and it will make it a hardscape. But first I need to define the style that I want. So so you'll get this little resource manager pop-up window where you can find different hardscape styles, and most of these, I think all of them, are precast concrete blocks. So you know what, I don't really care right now. These, I won't be using a concrete block precast for this project, but right now I'm just trying to show, a visual. So I'll just pick one of these. I'll pick that one and apply it here. And that's not what I was expecting to happen. Hardscape settings. Oh dear. All right, let's see what this looks like in 3D if I render that. Okay, so there's the rendered 3D. Now I'm having a problem with the 2D. Why is that not showing me a hardscape? I'm going to hit undo. I don't know what I did. Edit, undo. All right, Command Z. Okay. Is this a hardscape? No, it's not. It's still a polyline. So here we go. Modify. Convert to polygon. We're good. Now, hardscape. I'm going to choose a different one because I don't know what happened with that one. I'm going to choose this sandset one. Now I'm going to convert that. There. Okay, so maybe the other one I picked didn't have a 2D symbol. Anyway, I need a 2D symbol to show what I'm trying to show. And if you notice, so here's what this hardscape looks like in 2D, and then if I do a flyover into 3D, change to Fast Render Works, that's what this hardscape looks like in 3D. So that's more aligned with the symbol I thought I was choosing. But back in top plan view, that's what I'm seeing. All right, so that's my walkway. Now for my driveway, this long area and then this parking area here, I don't need that symbol in 2D to be as intricate as this walkway. So I'm just going to make sure that these areas are capable of having a fill color, just to delineate the difference between that, the space inside that's hardscape driveway parking versus green space. So the first thing I need to do is close these off from the rest of their surroundings by defining their space a little better with a closed loop. And so with this area, so I'll need to splice this curvature so that I have an end point right here. So now I can connect these two, since this is no longer one long curve, it's spliced. I'm going to do the same to the other side. Oh look, they're not touching. That's going to cause me problems later. Make sure they touch. Now I'm going to splice this curve. Now I can highlight just these and compose them together. Now they're their own closed loop, and I'm going to apply a solid color. And I'll change the pen as well. Look, that's bugging me. So if I double click this, I can carry that vertice up. There. Okay, so I closed the parking loop, made it a color, and now I'll do that to my driveway. So these lines would basically just represent the edge of, the gravel or the pea stone or whatever. Maybe these clients will choose to have, Belgian block or concrete paver driveway or parking area, and that's fine. But I don't need it to, show in my presentation here, because I think you'll see once we're done placing all the plants, even this hardscape looks a little busy. So to have these nice, just clean colors for these large areas like driveways, it makes the drawing look less busy. All right, so let's see if all of these can connect. I think they can, but actually first I need to splice these curves. What's going on there? Whoops, wrong splicing area. All right, so now let's highlight all of these segments and compose. All right, now I've got one closed loop there, and I'm going to use my dropper tool to pick up that fill. Whoops, drop it in there. All right, cool. So, and I'm not sure if I meant for this to intentionally happen, but, well, of course I did. The walkway, if you were watching previous videos, I mentioned how I wanted the walkway to be a major feature, and to have it actually pave itself right through to dissect the driveway, because this client has customers parking here and walking into the studio right here. And so I wanted those customers to have a very clear visual path ahead of them, so that they could know where they were going. And if I decided that that was too much for any reason, I could change the layout of this hardscape, or just for visual purposes, I could highlight the driveway and say modify send to front, and so now I have the driveway just going over the walkway, and it makes it look like the walkway actually stops at the edges of the driveway. And that's one way to do this too. But if you were actually using this drawing for more than preliminary visual purposes, you would want to segment out this walkway. If you needed to create a quantity takeoff and actual square footages of how much hardscape material you needed, you would want to fix this. Because as this is right now, if I have that highlighted, I can see that that area is 521 square feet. I can see over here in the object info palette, and I wouldn't want that number to to tell me how many square feet this walkway will be if it's not going through the driveway. Okay, anyway, I'm going to send this driveway to the back again because I do want the walkway going through. All right, so that's really it for my hardscape for now. So now I'm going to import my my trace paper planting sketch that I did by hand on my drafting table, and then I scanned as a JPEG. So that's an image file. All right, so here it comes, and oh, you know what I forgot to do? I did not add a scale bar to this. So let me see, Command L, rotate that 90 degrees. It's fixed. I mean, I can't fix it, but I can still work with it. So I'll show you how I do that. All right, so first I'll change the opacity so I can see through it, so I can see where I'm putting it. And I'm just going to resize this. So to resize a PDF or a JPEG while not changing the ratio of length to width. You have to hold the shift key and then pull it down. So let's see how this fits. So this is what you would do if you did not have your scale bar on your scan. Hey, not bad. So you'll just want to keep tweaking that. And it's still too big. Resize again. Oh wait. No, that was too small. Oh, duh. All right, getting bigger. I'm gonna go a little bit bigger. Tiny bit bigger. All right, so since I'm really just using this sketch as a guide, it doesn't matter that much that I didn't bring in a scale bar. Still needs to be bigger. But if I had drawn my, quote unquote sketch with very precise lines and 90-degree angles and so forth, I wouldn't want to be doing this all day. So save the hassle and get yourself a scale bar on there before you scan it. Okay, I'm going to work with this. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is put this JPEG import into its own class so that I don't accidentally shift it and then have to go through all that, moving and resizing again. All right, so up in my organization palette here, classes. So if I click on the import drop down and hit new, I automatically get this imports dash thing as the name. And I'm going to call this the planting sketch. And you can see how it drops right down under the concept C within the imports, which is cool. All right, so now though, I have to highlight that and actually put it into that class. All right. So as I'm drawing, I'm going to stay in the none class. And I'm going to change this to show snap others so that I can still see that JPEG, but I can't pick it up and move it. Oh, the other thing I forgot to say. So the Hardscape that I created automatically gave me this site class with all of these drop downs. And the same will happen when I start using plants. I'll get a brand new class that's called plants and it has all these options within it. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start with, oh yeah, these are my existing trees and I added more. So I'm going to start with those existing trees. Hang on, I don't feel like looking at the sketch right now because I want to deal with these circles. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go over to the tool set, click on the plant symbol, and I'm going to say existing tree. So I need to hit wrench pencil if I want to change what this is going to look like. So for now, I'm not going to give it a name or anything. I'm just going to give it a symbol that is 3D. So these are really funny looking. So I'm going to go over to image prop 3D symbol and then I get to choose one. So up here, so in your VectorWorks library, you can open the plants. I use the photorealistic plants. And look, I'm actually right here on the threes. So those existing trees, actually, you know what? I'm going to call them spruces. Is there picea in here? Evergreen. Picea. All right, give me some spruces. Let's do the Glauca, I guess. All right. So I'm going to click. It's actually a double click for these. So these are all of the existing trees. That's a birch, so I'm going to make that one different. And I'm okay with them overlapping because they actually are quite close to each other on site. And now I need to get rid of that circle that's inside there. So how am I going to find those? Let's see. So if I move this, click on that, that is in layout lines. Okay, so I put that back, head over to my navigation palette, make layout lines my active class, and only show snap others. I should be, there we go. Delete. All right, so now I don't have any lines in there from the, oh, you know what? Never mind. Okay, now let's make this birch an existing tree. So back over to existing, wrench pencil, 3D geometry, give me a new looking plant here, deciduous tree, betula, and let's see, that one kind of looks like that. It's not a pendula, but it looks like that a little bit. Click OK, and now double click that into its space, and this one was actually smaller than the circle, so I can just delete the circle. Okay, so let's see, if I head over into flyover, you can see that those are the existing trees. All right, back to top plan. Now, bring me, okay, I'm gonna go back into, I'm gonna start drawing again in none. And now I need to see that planting sketch again. Okay, so that I can place the plants that I want designed in there. So continuing on this corner. So let's see, I know I wanted a couple Thuja plicatas on each end. So I'm gonna, instead of existing tree, I'm just gonna go to plant in my tool set. And let's see, plant style. Now this is where there's a lot of options. So I'm gonna close all the 2Ds. I need to look at the elevation props, elevation image props, and you can see there's all these different types of plants that you can use. So let me close all these. We're not using shrubs, we're not using deciduous trees. We are using a an evergreen tree. So here's where I'll add my Thuja. And there's a Thuja plicata. So that's the symbol I'm going to use. Wow, that's huge. All right, wrench pencil, let's fix this. So for this, okay, if I was using this file for a final plan down the road, complete with a plant list and planting schedule, planting plan that I'm going to hand off to somebody, I'm going to want to start doing this right from the beginning, which is right now. So I would want to identify the species of plant that I choose, the size, and I want that symbol to be in the resource manager of this file. So I'm going to do that once right now, but I think for the rest of this demo video, I'm not going to do that because it just takes time. So the first thing I want to do is, so basically I'm using Thuja plicata, but I don't want it drawn at 48 feet. And I kind of want to do my own thing with this symbol. So I'm going to say duplicate style. So this, I'm kind of creating my own plant right now. So it's a Thuja plicata green giant. And I'm going to start, specifying all of this. So it's a Thuja plicata, Thuja X plicata. It's a cross, as far as I know. And the common name is the green giant arborvitae. And if you click on this plant catalog, that opens up a whole new world, and I'm not going to go there right now. Okay, so size and spacing. There's no way this is getting 48 feet. Maybe in your lifetime, not in mine. So I'm going to say it's going to be 18 feet wide. And with any luck, it gets to 20 feet tall. And let's see. So there's a bunch of other stuff you can play with here, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to hit OK. And so, whoa, why is it still so big? Okay, hold on. What's going on? Okay, it must have reset my spacing. So 18 feet, 20 feet. Okay, that's better. Now I'm going to place one there and one there. Oh, I'm going to put some over here too. Even though I called those ABs for simplicity for this video, I'm going to make those green giants. All right, so there are my green giants. I'll turn off my planting sketch so you can see what it looks like so far. Here is a flyover. That's what we look like right now. All right, back to top plan. Turn my planting sketch back on. Okay, can I just point out right now that looking at this blank screen, you know, I have plants placed, but I'm like, okay, where am I going next? Like I have no roadmap. This planting sketch is my roadmap. I know it's messy, but for crying out loud, do you know how much better it is staring at at a messy import than it is staring at a blank screen? Like, look at all this space I have to fill with plants. I have no idea how I'm going to fill those with plants. But wait, yes, I do, because I did it when I wasn't staring at a screen. I did it at my desk where I could use my creativity and, you know, the juices could flow from my brain to my hand. And now I have this. I have a map. Now I know what I'm doing. All right. So that was a side note. All right. So these are two magnolias. Sorry, mag here, two there. So I'm going to head back over to plant, find a magnolia that I like the looks of. And even, you know, you don't have to use these species. And so, okay, just say, I'm going to pick this one. So I picked this symbol, right? But like I did with the Thuya plicata green giant, I duplicated the style. I made it I kept the look of the symbol, but I changed the other parameters. And you can do that with any of these plant symbols. And maybe another time I'll show you how you can actually tweak the symbols and create more of your own symbols. Anyway, so I'm just going to call it the Magnolia solangiana, even though I don't think that will grow in Maine. That's fine. I'm just going to use it for this video. Hit OK, and I'm going to place those. There's one there, there, and there. And for simplicity's sake, I'm going to put one here and one here too. These were going to be Katsura. You know what? Frig it. They're going to be Katsuras. Get rid of you. Because I want to see what this looks like in 3D. All right, let's do those now. Two Katsura trees. Cercidophyllum. Which one do I like better? That one. That one. I like this one. That's huge. I'm not planning on my Cercidophyllum being that big. So wrench pencil. And I don't need to duplicate style if I just want to change the spread and the height. So let's say 20 feet spread, 20 foot. And then, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if they got 30 feet tall? Okay. All right. Last tree is right here. That's a Korean maple, which is similar to a Japanese maple. But I like it in Maine because it's hardy to zone 4. It's the Acer pseudo-Sibboldianum, and I don't see the option here, but I'm going to pick a symbol that I like. Let's see. I'll pick this Acer palmatum. It kind of looks like that. And hit wrench pencil. That looks fine. That looks fine. Now again, if I duplicated the style and I went into this plant catalog, I might actually be able to find the pseudo-Sibboldianum. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay. That's a little big though. We're going to call it 12 feet wide for spread, and I'm going to plop that right there. Okay, so turn off my planting sketch. Here's where I am. Here's where I am in 3D with just my trees. Okay, back to custom, top plan. Now, while I'm right here, let me just point out how I worked with these sight lines. So let me make them a little darker. So I'm going to, whoops. Let's make them red. Okay, so here's how I designed my plantings, just my trees around my sight lines. So taller trees for things that are further away, but also for a few of the view lines that are up close. So right here, where's my sketch? So you can see I created this hedge-like thing of hydrangeas, some other smaller shrubs. So I'm blocking sight lines with my plant materials. And of course, when I designed this planting sketch, my sight lines were on the base, the layout base. So like out of the kitchen window, that's why I put that great big arborvitae there. So you can see the sight lines are really helpful when placing big plants, hedgerows, things like that, when you want to either accentuate viewpoints or you want to block views. So just something to point out. So from this office window, look, I have almost a clear shot right through there, which is okay. Sometimes I don't mind they might not mind seeing cars coming through, but you have openings. You're not completely blocked off and screened 100% of the time. You can see movement. All right. Turn off the sight lines, go back to none for my active class. All right, let's place some hydrangeas. So deciduous shrubs, hydrangeas, and I like the paniculatas because they actually get kind of tall. That looks super tiny, so I would use like a quick fire or limelight or something like that, and they get 5 feet where I am. 5 feet wide, 5 feet tall. And I'm going to change this, instead of placing singles, which is good for trees, this multiple placement tool helps to do a line or a row of some sort. All right, so there's my hydrangeas. Let me just put a couple plants in there to show those. Let's see. One plant I really like is myrica. I don't see any myricas in this list. All right, I'll use a Chamaecyparis, a moppy looking one. How big's this mop anyway? All right, so I'm going to put some mops here. And so all of these little hatches, whoa, what happened? Well. There. All these hatches are, they represent for me ground cover, and I chose Persicaria. So I'll show you those in a sec. Okay. Let's do my boxwood hedges. I'm sorry if you can't read my writing. This is why I use VectorWorks, so that my clients can read what I'm doing. All right, Buxus. How big are these? Yeah, that's fine. And so I might use this tool this time. What do they call this? The poly edge. And so I'll show you how. Well, that might not work well for me, but we'll try it. See, I just drag along. But you can't really do a curve. That's like, ugh. I guess that's okay. I'll go in and delete some of those. I don't know. Curves are kind of my thing. And so anyway, I'm going to edit the path, and I'm going to subtract these that are going over the hardscape. Why are you not subtracting? Oh, it's for the vertice. All right, that's not going to work for me. Never mind. So, still on Buxus, going to do this one again. Okay, and I'm going to put some roadies in here. Cute. How big are these? Okay, these are great little dwarfs, and actually I needed some dwarfs. So okay. All right, let's turn off the sketch and do a flyover. Cute. All right, so it's coming together. I've got the trees, I've got the shrubs, and now the ground cover stuff. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can use the landscape area tool and create those as closed, kind of like we do with the hardscape, closed loops that fill in with a specific fill. But I'm going to instead use the I'm gonna find a perennial. Let's see, do they have persicaria? Oh, they do. Beautiful. So there's my persicaria, and I'm going to use this, what do they call this? The triangular array mode and the rectangular array mode. So we're going to use triangular because it looks like they offset them. And so I'm going to place them, like I draw the outline and they just fill in. Whoa, why did that do that? I must have double clicked in the wrong way. Okay, Now we need to send those back because they're not supposed to be on top of the trees. Let's just see what this looks like if I go into flyover. Okay, so they show under the trees. The problem is in plan view, they're above the trees. So I have to modify send backward. This happens when I send it back. So they're going to be under the sketch, but that's okay because I'm going to turn the sketch off. All right, so there's some Persicaria. I also have Persicaria all up here. So, whoops. Whoops. Went under that evergreen a little too much. That's okay. Let's delete some of those vertices. This is a little scary. I don't know what it's going to do. Whoa. Yeah, see? I can add a vertice now. There. All right, send both of these blobs to the back. Turn off my sketch. And that's what I have. Let's do a flyover. Cool. So if I zoom in, you can see all these little photorealistic plants looking all perfect. All right. I have some blank spaces here and here, but I'm going to leave those for now. I do want to show you what it looks like to put in a person and a vehicle. So I'm going to head up into the resource manager. Here is where I found the people. So VectorWorks libraries, you want to look for site. Oh no, wait, is it site? No, it's visualization, people, and vehicles. So first we'll do a people. We're going to do Daphne here, looking at her watch. Okay, so I double click on her. And I'm going to place her here. And that's the only 2D symbol I get, is that. Now when I fly over, I see Daphne looking at her watch. And always looking at her watch. Okay. Top plan. And then to just add some more scale elements in here, you can add a vehicle or 7. So back to resource manager and under vehicles. So we'll pick, I don't know, a Jeep. It's yellow, pretty visible. So here is how a Jeep fits into this parking space. So there's a Jeep there. We'll put a Jeep over here. Oh, come on. All right, and now we take a look, and that's what we're looking at. And so, these photorealistic 3D renderings are awesome to show to your clients so that they can get a real feel for, you know, what you're proposing for their landscape, because honestly, no one, it seems, can read these types of plans. You know, they can't pull it alive in their brains. So some can, but not all of them. And so really, these are helpful for selling a project, having these 3D visualizations, and maybe you've been thinking, well, it'd be really great if the house was there in 3D, and yes, it would be. So there are a couple ways to get a house there. So one, you can have the building architect send you their DWG file that has their building model, and you can insert that building model into your landscape model. The other thing you can do is use this massing model tool, which I won't go through right now, but it creates a very simple structure so that you at least have the mass of the building there, but you don't have all of the specifics unless you build them in, like the windows and the doors and the roof lines and the different stories and so forth. So, yeah, so that's how, let's see. So if you wanted to present this, you could, turn on your title block, and this could be what you present. If you're ready to show your client next steps beyond your, just your basic concept plan, this could be like a preliminary plan where you actually show what plants you're talking about and, how those plants affect the space. And you can give them screenshots of things like this, or you can sit with them on Zoom and fly around it just like this. But there's also this really cool thing, the walkthrough tool, and I won't go through that today, but that's super helpful too, where you can have someone actually, visualize. It's like a movie walking around the built landscape. Whoops. Okay. So that is that. So I imported the hand-drawn planting sketch and made some hardscape areas, and this is where I ended up. Of course, I would change the title block at this point, and I think I would call this the preliminary plan. And it's not a planting plan, it's not a hardscape plan, it's just a preliminary planting plan, preliminary plan. And then, change the date for whenever you drew it, and whoops, and you're good to go. Okay, so that is how I take a base landscape layout and add 3D hardscapes and plantings in VectorWorks Landmark to give my clients a real-life representation of my design for their project. Now, I also mentioned how this could really come to life if I had incorporated 3D building models. So I will do a follow-up video showing you how you can create these. All right, so thank you so much for joining me and watching Landscape Elevation. This has been the fourth and final VectorWorks demo video of this series where I walk through how I create a fully digital landscape design using VectorWorks Landmark as a tool to modernize traditional hand drafting efforts thanks to its powerful digital presentation and editing capabilities. And I do plan to create more VectorWorks Landmark demonstration videos, so if these were helpful to you, please stay tuned. And remember, I love hearing from folks in the landscape design community. If you're a landscape designer and you have questions or a conversation to start, please share them in the comments or reach out to me directly from my website, landscapeelevation.com, where you can also find my free PDF guides that I've created to help you on your journey as a landscape designer. I have the example client questionnaire, and I also have my 5 steps to prepare for a successful landscape design. All right, thank you. Take care, and I hope you have a really great week.